Lawyer before I became a judge, so lawyers think better on their feet. So in that sense, I have to come over here to speak. The topic is very interesting, Bachpan Ka Sffer. It's actually the journey of a child. But have you looked at it from the other perspective? In this warring battle, is it not bachon ka suffer as in English suffer?
Yeah.
Don't they suffer because of the dispute between the parents? Parental alienation is something which is, well, we are now developing the concept of parental alienation syndrome, but it's always been there. Now, there is a difference in the Western society and our society in terms of the alienation of children, in terms of the disputes that happen. Because in Western society, the moment a dispute happens, parties land up in court and things start moving. In India, the parent or whoever, I'm not saying the wife is the sufferer or the husband is the sufferer, they suffer silently for years, sometimes to make the marriage happen. Then they separate, or one of them is turned out of the house, and then that person suffers several years more in an anticipation that there is this hope of reuniting. And once that crosses the stage, then the matter reaches the court. If exceptional cases, they go to court straight shot. So in that suffering at home, suffering outside the home, is that period when child will be with one of the two and parental alienation starts happening there and then. By the time the matter reaches the court, the child has been separated from the parent for several years and grown to live with one. And knowingly, unknowingly, the parent would be feeding the child with some information. We've had instances where parties have been separated for 6, 7, 8 years and matter reaches the court, or when it reaches the High Court, probably 10 years down the line, the child was 2 or 3, and the child has not met the other parent except maybe through some visitation. And the prompt answer is, look, you used to beat my mother, or you used to shout at him. How does the child, a 2-year, 3-year, 4-year child, remember what was happening? The only thing is, maybe somebody at home has been telling the girl, look, please, you were right, because they want to give support to that family. You were right, he used to be abusive. Child has not witnessed anything, but develops a memory that this is what is there. Now, there are sometimes parental alienation of the child. This was actually a very eye-opener case. The child said that, look, I don't want my, whichever that parent is, coming to my school, because that person comes and stands outside the school just to see me board my school bus. Why? I don't want that parent coming to my school in any of my functions. Because when that person comes to school, my friends look at that person and look at me, and I feel embarrassed. Now, there's nothing from the other parent. When we talked to the parents, they were an attempt to actually reconcile. But that peer pressure itself with the child was something which came as a surprise to us. That even this can be an issue, because you see, children today are born with a tablet in their hand. So they see all these movies, they see all these small short clips. And there are videos, knowingly, unknowingly, they get affected by them. So they watch a video, there is an alienation, a child is living with one of the parents. So if you look at the search history of that child will be seeing movies where parents have separated. And then develop an impression in their mind that that's how things are. But then it's actually causing a lot of issues. Now, the question again is paramount interest of the child. Mr. Johar brought up two major points, which was the parent evaluator. But that's exactly what came to our mind. You see, by the time the matter reaches the court, say 4 years, 5 years, 6 years down the line, knowingly, unknowingly, there is a sort of a parent alienation. Now, if you ask the child at that juncture, who do you want to live with? Prompt answer is going to be the one that I'm coming from. So there has been an alienation. Now, whether that's in the interest of the child or not is something which someone has to examine. So maybe the legislatures have to look into bringing in a legislation that moment parties separate, there has to be a parent evaluator visiting the families to examine that, and a child psychologist examining the child. Children don't really know what is in their best interest. And as judges, when matters come to court, you see, we have very little limited time. It's not only a custody battle, it's a whole short battle between them in terms of separation, in terms of their disputes, reconciliation, alimony. Now we are looking at several things. And with number of matters, you get very limited time. In that limited time, to evaluate what the cause was, what is the solution, how do you get about it, giving time to the child, it's very difficult. Guardian ad litem, again, it's a concept which should be there. Child should be examined, child should be met, and then things can be actually resolved in that sense. Now, there is another issue which I'd like to flag. Sorry, I'm going beyond the question, but I thought this was very important. You see, parental alienation. Now, courts have come up with a very simple concept. Let's divide the time between the two. Father gets X time, mother gets X time, and normally, if mother is bringing up the child, so Monday to Friday is mother and weekend is the father. Why? Two problems. Is it the role of the mother only to teach the child and for father to enjoy? Over the weekend and holidays, father gets custody, father will have good time with the child. Child is very happy because all that he gets to do over the weekend and holidays is enjoy with the dad, go for movies, etc. And mother, she's the black sheep because she tells me to study. Now that again is an issue. And what about the child's me time? We are talking of dividing time between mother and father. What about the child's me time? Child wants to go to a party with a friend on a Friday evening. The father says, sorry, it's me time. You have to come to my house, meet my mother, meet my friends. You're not going for that. So what about child's me time? Are we talking about dividing the time between the two or between the three of them? And how do you do it? It's actually a very tough question. There are sometimes children come from one parent and want to be with the other. And you see, when distances happen, there are cases we like to reconcile. But if there is parental alienation, it's very difficult to reconcile that family because that child doesn't even know the other parent. So it actually became a very, very tough situation. So, Utkarsh, I think there will be some more questions.